All right, get ready for this deep dive. We are going to unravel a story, and it's a wild one. We're looking at this guy, Steve.
Coach Steve.
Yeah, Coach Steve, right. Like I said, wild story. He's a certified online fitness trainer, AND, a former professional wrestler.
Living in the Philippines now.
You got it. Wrestling, fitness coaching, Philippines. What?
A pretty unique mix of experiences, for sure. We're basically working with YouTube videos, some notes, and even text snippets. It's like piecing together a puzzle.
Yeah, that's our mission today, right? We're trying to figure out who Steve is, what makes him tick, what can we learn from a guy who's juggled these totally different passions, and then he picks up and moves halfway across the world.
What gets me is that he jumps into pro wrestling at 34. Most wrestlers are thinking of retiring at that age, not starting out.
I know, right? 34. That is not the age you think of for, like, a rookie. Wrestling is brutal.
Totally. And then there's this one source, class and session, from teacher to wrestler. It kind of hints that he maybe was a teacher before wrestling.
Oh, interesting.
None of the other sources really say that for sure, though. Adds to the mystery.
I like it. So maybe a whole other life before wrestling. But teacher or not, he definitely made a name for himself in wrestling. Championships on 2 continents, met some legendary wrestlers, and even some, well, let's just say colorful personalities, as one source puts it. This wasn't just a hobby for him.
Definitely not. And you got to think about the challenges. Starting so late, overcoming stereotypes, proving everyone wrong, and then just dealing with how tough wrestling is on your body. It takes a ton of grit and resilience.
Right. Which makes you think, does this resilience, does it come from somewhere deeper? Is the wrestling just part of a bigger picture with this guy?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Maybe as we dig deeper, we'll find out.
Okay, let's switch gears and talk about what he's doing now. Online fitness coaching. And it seems like he's all in on this, just like he was with wrestling. 43 fitness certifications. That's crazy.
That's a lot, yeah.
He creates workout plans from scratch for each client, too. No generic stuff, huh?
Definitely not a fan of the cookie-cutter approach. He really pushes back against that whole one-size-fits-all fitness advice that you see online all the time. Steve really wants to know each client's goals, their limitations, what they like. It's all about creating a plan that actually works for that specific person.
Yeah, it makes sense when you see his prices. $800 for 3 online sessions per week, and then an extra $100 for each session after that. You're not signing up for this on a whim.
True. But it shows that he values what he brings to the table. He's upfront about the investment he's made in training, equipment, all that. He built a whole business around his passion, and he wants to make sure his expertise is valued. Good coaching isn't cheap, right? It's an investment in your health.
That's a good way to look at it. So we've got this driven guy, maybe ex-teacher, pro wrestler, now killing it as an online fitness coach. But even for someone with this much energy, it seems like finding balance is a struggle.
Absolutely. In a few sources, he talks about wanting more time for other things, more leisure activities, something besides training clients and his own workouts, which are intense.
Right.
He feels kind of stuck, which I think a lot of people can relate to. Even if you love what you do, it's easy to burn out.
And his move to the Philippines probably didn't make things easier.
Yeah, when he was in China, he was doing badminton, ping pong, even whip practice. But after the move, that all stopped. Plus, his wife has a crazy schedule, and family stuff takes up a lot of their time. Classic case of something has to give.
It does. Speaking of things that might be giving, let's talk about his weight fluctuations, because it's not just about skipping dessert or missing a workout, is it?
It's complicated. He's open about intentionally gaining weight, bulking as they call it, but he admits he hasn't always done it in the healthiest way. To really understand this, we need to explain what bulking and cutting are.
Hold on. Let's save that for the next part. It's getting good. We'll pick up right where we left off and explore the whole weight thing, plus a few more interesting tidbits about Steve's life.
Right, so bulking and cutting. Basically, bulking is when you're eating more calories than you burn to gain weight.
They get bigger.
Yeah, but the goal is to put on muscle. And cutting is the opposite. You eat less to lose fat, but you try to keep the muscle you gained. It's a cycle that bodybuilders and weightlifters use a lot.
So it's like a strategy for body composition, not just random weight changes.
Exactly. But Steve says he hasn't always bulked the healthy way. Sometimes it was just like bad food choices. And he has insomnia, so he ends up eating late at night, which doesn't help with weight either.
And remember the Philippine heat. Not just tough for working out, but he even got boils from it. He said it was pretty bad.
Yeah, his environment definitely plays a role. And there's also the fact that he had weight loss surgery in the past. We don't know all the details, but it makes you think, How does that affect how he approaches fitness now?
Good point. So internal stuff, external stuff, it's a battle. But even with all that, he's really determined. He pushes through the discomfort, changes up his workouts, and sticks to his schedule. It's that resilience again.
For sure. Okay, let's talk about his coaching. There's this YouTube video, Fit for Life, Jamie's first session. It's like we're right there watching him train someone online.
Okay, I'm in. Who's Jamie? What does this tell us about Steve as a coach?
So Jamie's a new client. Her main goal is weight loss, specifically around her stomach. Wants to feel lighter, more capable.
Yeah, I think we've all been there. So what does Steve do in this first session?
Right away, you see the personalization. He's always asking Jamie how she feels, what she likes, if anything's uncomfortable. It's not about him being the boss. It's like they're working together.
I like that. Not a drill sergeant.
Definitely not.
Oh.
So at one point, they're doing an oblique exercise.
So it was just like,
Yeah, exactly. Steve explains which muscles they're working and gives her options depending on what feels right for her body. If she needs to adjust her knee to make it work, he's totally cool with it. It's like he's there guiding her, even though they're online.
that's awesome. He adapts to the individual. Seems like he really wants his clients to succeed.
Yeah. And then they talk about loose skin, which Jamie's worried about. Steve admits he doesn't have an answer right away, but says he'll research it. Being honest about what he doesn't know actually makes him seem more trustworthy.
I agree. More human, you know? Not some know-it-all. He's a coach who wants to figure things out for his clients, even if it means doing extra homework.
Totally. And this whole approach shows up in his pricing, too.
Hmm.
Jamie asks about the costs, and Steve explains his sliding scale. Offers discounts if you buy multiple sessions. He wants people to be able to afford it while still making sure his work is valued.
So not the cheapest, but not trying to price anyone out either. Finding that middle ground.
Right. And then his philosophy about payment is interesting. He's like, everything is gradual. Even giving me money is gradual. It's like he's saying, fitness is a process, and I'm with you all the way, even financially.
That's kind of cool. More of a partnership than just give me money, do the workout.
Yes, and it goes beyond the workouts. Steve really emphasizes cardio for fat loss, specifically HIIT, which is high-intensity interval training.
Oh yeah, HIIT. Short bursts, right. Get the heart rate up. I've heard it's really effective. Why does Steve like it so much?
It's about alternating short bursts of intense exercise with short breaks. It burns a ton of calories and boosts your heart health. And you don't have to spend as much time on it compared to regular cardio, like running for an hour. It fits with people's busy lives.
That's a good point. Makes sense, given how he customizes everything.
Exactly. But he doesn't just say do HIIT. He explains how it works, the 2.1 ratio of work to rest, how important form is. He even debunks that myth about spot reduction, losing fat in specific areas.
Which is totally a myth, but so many people still believe it.
I know, right? But then they start talking about gym equipment, or the lack of it, calf machines. Apparently they're hard to find in gyms in China and the Philippines.
What? No calf machine. How do you even work out without one?
That's what's so cool. Steve has a workaround for everything. He talks about using a Smith machine with an aerobic step or even the leg press. Get creative.
So no excuses. You don't need a fancy gym to get results.
It shows how resourceful he is, how he adapts. And remember that resilience we were talking about. It's not just about pushing through when your body's hurting. It's about problem solving, adjusting to whatever life throws at you, whether it's starting wrestling late, moving to a new country, or missing a calf machine.
I like that. And that adaptability seems to go beyond the gym, too. Remember how he was saying he wants more leisure, more balance? Well, it turns out his YouTube channel might be part of that.
Yeah, there's this video, New Channel Greeting. He describes his channel as having a variety of everything. Online training, wrestling, travel, even competitive bass fishing.
Wow, that's a lot. Seems like his channel is just him being him with all his different interests.
Exactly. It's not just for fitness people. It's for anyone who connects with his personality, his sense of adventure, trying new things. He's just genuinely excited about life.
That's awesome. He's built a whole community around being himself, which is so rare online these days when everyone's trying to be perfect.
So true. But even with all the positivity and doing what he loves, we can't forget those challenges,
Yeah.
The boils, the lack of sleep, the work-life balance struggle. I feel like there's more to the story.
Yeah, it does seem like there's something deeper going on. This is where it gets really interesting, I think. Ready to dive into that?
Let's do it.
So we were talking about how tough it is for Steve over there, the heat, the boils, not sleeping well. But there's this video, new client's question makes me think. And it kind of takes his story in a whole new direction.
Yeah, it does. He talks about this client asking him, "What do you do for leisure, Steve?" Simple question, right?
Yeah.
But his answer, it's really revealing.
What's so insightful about it? Like, what's the deeper meaning behind that question?
It shows where his head's at right now. He describes his day, and it's nonstop. Wake up, coffee, workout, client session, work at the store, come home, cool down, feed the dog, more workouts, dinner, TV, and then repeat. It's like he's on this treadmill. Traded the intensity of wrestling for the hustle of his business.
That's a really interesting way to put it, because on the surface, it sounds good, right? Doing what you love, successful business, beautiful place to live. But under all that, it seems like something's missing.
Yeah, and he even says it. He misses the stuff he used to do with his wife in China. Badminton, ping pong, even whip practice. They don't really have that anymore, and their schedules are so different that they barely see each other. He's achieved all this stuff, but it seems like it came at a cost.
It's so relatable, you know? Like, we're all pushing for something, hustle, hustle, hustle. But then we end up feeling empty, even when we're successful.
It's a huge problem these days. And Steve's story, it's a good reminder. Success isn't just about what you achieve. It's about having balance, taking care of different parts of your life, prioritizing the things that actually make you happy and give you purpose.
Almost a cautionary tale. Like, watch out for the trade-offs you're making when you go after your goals.
But I also think it's a chance to learn something. He's so open about his struggles, wanting more balance, more time for himself. We all have the power to look at our own lives and make changes, to make things more fulfilling, personally and professionally.
So, taking everything we've learned about Steve, what are the big takeaways from all this? What wisdom can we pull out of this deep dive?
Well, first of all, it shows that you should chase your passions, even if they seem crazy. He goes from maybe teacher to pro wrestler to online fitness coach. It's never too late to change things up, you know? And then there's the resilience thing, not just physically, but mentally too. Bouncing back from setbacks, keep going, even when it's hard.
It's a powerful combo, those two. Passion and resilience, you can see them throughout his whole life.
Totally. And lastly, Steve's story reminds us that success is a journey. It's not about reaching a destination. It's about finding that sweet spot, you know, achieving your goals, but also feeling fulfilled. Sometimes you got to pause, think about what's important, and make adjustments. Create a life that's balanced and actually means something to you.
It all comes back to that question, what do you do for leisure? We've seen how Steve adapts his workouts when there are limitations, finds a way to keep going. But how do we do that in other parts of our lives? How do we make time for leisure, for connecting with people, for the stuff that makes us feel good and whole? It's about getting creative, prioritizing our well-being, realizing that success is about way more than just checking things off a list.
It's about creating a life that feels good, purposeful, but also enjoyable. A life where you can thrive, not just survive. That's something worth working towards.
That's a great place to end this deep dive. It's been a wild ride learning about Steve's life. Thanks for joining us, and we hope you got something out of it.